Whether the team is performing clean or unsightly, we'll cover it all here on Washington Football Nightly. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So, the Washington football team sits at 4-7 after the 41-16 destruction of the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving. What a happy Thanksgiving it was. We talked about that on the overtime program. And there's a lot of things that have transpired since the last time we have spoken. First and foremost, feels good to be back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Unlike the squad, I'm going to come back off this bye week hitting on all cylinders. Not going to miss a thing. Not going to turn the football over. Not going to lose a game that I'm supposed to win. I'm going to take care of business tonight. So we've got a lot to get to, but we cannot gloss over the Thanksgiving that was 41-16 Washington destroying the Dallas Cowboys. It was a glorious Thursday. I had so much fun watching the game, chopping it up with you guys in the MOBB. Stand up, we in the building, watching that game with you guys as Washington systematically took apart Dallas, especially, the last 12 minutes of that fourth quarter. Man, was it fun to watch. And I watched that thing down to the final seconds. I mean, literally watched that last second tick off the clock and just took it all in, soaked it all up, from the Montez Sweat interception to guys just being excited to Peyton Barber getting that last first down to run out the clock. It was all awesome. And so we've done the thing that we said that it was going to be tough to do for Ron Rivera, which was sweep the Dallas Cowboys, win on Thanksgiving, win on primetime, all the things that we haven't done well over the last, two regimes. We did it, and Ron Rivera is, to me, the common denominator. You sweep Dallas. Look, 4-7 isn't what you want to be. But again, this first season was supposed to be all about learning and finding out what you have and what young guys are going to be along for the ride and what guys aren't going to be along for the ride. This was supposed to be a year of growth and figuring things out, and it was supposed to happen in obscurity, not with a division title on the line. But, unfortunately for us, we're figuring all those things out, and we're getting a chance to potentially win a division and host a playoff game all in that same process, which we didn't think was going to be the case when this season first took place. But here we are at 4-7. Ron Rivera's teams have always historically played better in November into December. He's got one of the better records in December of any coach in the league right now. So he's always had a knack for having his teams play some of their best football down the stretch. We'll see if it carries over with this football team. Again, young team, tough schedule. We've got to go on the road. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the program. But 41-16. I had a chance to watch the offensive film. That's up on Patreon. If you're on Patreon, what a treat it was to watch the Dallas Cowboys be taken apart. And honestly, it could have been a lot worse offensively. I thought that Alex Smith and his offense left some points on the scoreboard, left some opportunities out there. But I thought they moved the football very effectively throughout the day. Again, mistakes, missed opportunities. The interception proved to be a changing point in the season, not just the game, but potentially in the season. But that was a great job of getting the football off of your own 5-yard line and moving it all the way out to midfield. I mean, I had said to my dad as we were watching the game, look, we don't have to gain another yard. And when I said that, it was 1st and 10 from midfield. I didn't know we were going to throw 2 straight incompletions and then an interception. And I was being facetious, but I meant it. But at the same time, I'm like, we don't have to move the ball another inch. We've done our job. If we punt the ball here, we flip field position. I didn't know Alex Smith was going to throw an interception and they were going to take it all the way down to the 4-yard line. But the defense held firm and steady. We got some breaks too, just like we did in the first Cowboys game. We got some breaks in this game. CeeDee Lamb drops a touchdown pass again. He had 2 or 3 drops against us the first time around. So, look, you got to force and make your own breaks, and we did that. We were disciplined in this game. We didn't make any mistakes to beat ourselves other than the Alex Smith interception and the defense, and that's complimentary football. Defense picked up the offense in that instance. Special teams was special for the first time in a long time, even though we did have the penalty on Jimmy Moreland on the punt return by Steven Sims, where you just can't field that punt. Inexcusable to field that punt inside your own 10-yard. I think he might have been inside the 7 when he caught that football, and then you get the holding penalty on Jimmy Moreland, and it moves you back to the 5. But that's nor here nor there. I thought the offense was good all day, especially running the football, especially in short yardage situations. We were exceptional. Scott Turner went to his bag of tricks multiple times. Fumblerooski or Bummerooski, excuse me. You had the tight end pass. You had the read option with Logan Thomas. So there was a lot of wrinkles on a short week. Got to give Scott Turner a lot of credit for reaching into his bag and pulling out a few tricks on a short week when most probably didn't expect those things to transpire. And also, I think that, and I'm going to put out a clip on IG at some point either today or tomorrow, showing the effect of having a legitimate number 1 wide receiver. And there's a play in this game where Terry McLaurin takes 3 defenders with him. And you got Isaiah Wright screaming across the middle of the field open for a touchdown. At some point, Alex Smith has to start taking advantage of having a legitimate number 1 wide receiver that's going to command that kind of attention and start hitting some of these other receivers. Look, I'm all for forcing Terry the football because 7 times out of 10, Terry's shown the ability to come down with it. So if you force it in his direction, he's going to make a play for you. But with that said, the benefit, one of the biggest benefits of being a legit number 1 in this league is the attention that you command. And if Terry's going to now command the kind of attention that the Julio Joneses and the Michael Thomases and the Tyreek Hills of the world are going to, and the Devontae Adams are going to attract, you've got to take advantage of that. The guys that don't necessarily win on their own, the guys that aren't going to be able to shake free, when they get open because Terry's got 6 set of eyes on him, you've got to take advantage of that. And so I think, that's something that will be the next step in this offense's evolution. But when you look at what we were able to do, it was a steady diet. And this is the thing. Now you have to understand that this is no longer a fluke. And we can talk about the level of competition, and we're going to find out just how much we've evolved offensively next week, because we're playing the best defense in football, and it's not close. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the best defense in football, at least from these eyes' perspective. We could talk about other teams ranking first, like the Rams ranking first, and this, that, and the third, and Indianapolis's defense is good. Well, I watched Derrick Henry pick them apart this past weekend. The Steelers defensively, the eye test tells me they're the best defense in football. So I can't wait to see our offense match up against them, and we'll talk about that later on in the show, and we'll talk about that later on in the week as well. But you have to understand that this is no longer a fluke. Had we done this once or twice during this little, 6-game stretch, going back to the first Giants game, it's Giants, it's Dallas, it's Giants again, it's Detroit, it's Cincinnati, and then it's Dallas again. It's a 6-game stretch in which this team has been lights out on third down. This team has overcome long down in yardage distances. This team has overcome, mistakes, missed opportunities, sacks, things of that nature, penalties. 2nd and 15 doesn't affect us the way that it did in the first 6 weeks of the season. It just doesn't anymore. Now, will that rear its ugly head when we get against a team like the Steelers that has the capability of getting off the field or forcing you into 3rd and 12 instead of allowing that 3rd and 2nd and 15 to turn into a 3rd and 2? Maybe. Maybe we do revert to our old ways when we see a team that doesn't look like the Giants, the Cowboys, or the Lions, or the Bengals. Maybe we do revert to our old ways. However, I've told you this before, and this is why I think this team is different now, is because confidence begets winning, and winning begets confidence. It's a vicious, flavor delicious cycle, and when you start to gain confidence, now it doesn't really matter who the opponent is. Now you feel like you can execute no matter what. And so we've had enough of these games to tune us up, to get our confidence up to the point now where I think we're going to look at Pittsburgh and we're not going to be afraid, or as a wise man once told me, we won't be scared. Okay? We won't be scared. We're going to go to Pittsburgh and we're going to go toe-to-toe with these boys. And I don't know. If they come in there expecting a win and expecting us to lay down, they may get caught slipping. We'll talk about that later on in the week. But now we're among the best in the league in this 6-game stretch, converting third downs. We're converting them at a very high clip. We went from being one of the worst scoring teams in the league to now one of the teams that can actually score. Now, we've only got one game of 30 plus this season, of course. That just happened against Dallas. But for the second week in a row, and again, these are the types of things you look to build upon. For the second week in a row, we didn't soil ourselves in the first half of the game. Now, it wasn't this, dynamic, explosive display, but for the third time in 4 weeks that we've played Dallas, for the third time in 5 weeks that we've played Dallas, the Giants, Cincinnati, Detroit, and now Dallas again. In the Dallas, Cincinnati, and Dallas games, we didn't embarrass ourselves in the first half. And I've said this, the first half is all about survival. Survival of the fittest, only the strong survive. The first half is all about just not being down double figures. Because we've proven this is a fact for us. And maybe, again, the Steelers game, huge litmus test. Maybe we soil ourselves in that game and maybe we don't come out and have the dominant third quarter and fourth quarter that we've had for much of this season. But we know what it is. We did it again. We did it again versus the Cowboys. We did it against Cincinnati. We didn't give up a single second half point to the Cincinnati Bengals. We didn't give up but 3 points, and that 3 points came off of the Alex Smith interception down inside the 5-yard line to the 4. Defense stood tall, gave up a field goal. That's it. No other points for Dallas. It was 17-13 at the half. Our two biggest scoring outputs in the first half, coincidentally enough, come against Dallas. Can we do it against another team? I don't know, but I can tell you we're trending in the right direction. No longer is it expected that we're going to come out flat and the other team's going to score 17 or 20 and we're only going to score 3 and we're going to be down 17 or 14 or 20 at halftime. And now we got to dig ourselves up out of this crazy hole that we've dug ourselves. That's not the case anymore. Or at least it hasn't been for the last 2 weeks. So that's starting to change. That narrative is starting to change. That's getting out of these guys' heads. We're getting healthier. This mini bye week that we're on now, play on Thursday. You're supposed to play on Sunday. They pushed the game back to Monday. You're getting an extra day of rest. Maybe we'll get DeShazer Everett back. Maybe we'll get Cornelius Lucas and or Jaron Christian back. Like, these are the things that start to enter your mind as we get down home stretch. We're getting healthier. Guys are getting healthier. We left that game with some bumps and some bruises. Terry came into that game battered and bruised. This time off is excellent for him. Morgan Moses, banged up. Brandon Sheriff, banged up. Those guys, this time, excellent for them. So when you look at this situation for Washington, we're on the up and up right now. Antonio Gibson's starting to play a much bigger role. J.D. McKissick is carving out a niche for himself on this football team. We know what Terry is. You see Logan Thomas starting to become a bigger part of this offense because of all the versatility that he brings to the table. When you look at what we've started to do offensively, and now the defense is starting to step up once again. Now, again, I understand the competition hasn't been great, but this defense, and some of you have failed to realize this at times this year, this defense is vastly improves from last year. It's not even close. And I told you that even when we went through some of these games where we struggled, like Detroit and in the Giants first half game, the second time around, this defense is better and it's not even close. Yeah, it's frustrating sometimes when you don't get pressure on the quarterback, but this defense is better. It's way better. It's not up for debate. And so they're getting better. You're starting to see that we are a formidable football team. I look around this division. I know you guys watched that Eagles game just like I did last night. They're horrible. All right. They might be the luckiest team in the league. You know, we joke and we kid about FedEx Field and how it's always, the opponent's home game at FedEx Field. Well, to be honest with you, the team that's probably the luckiest right now that there aren't any fans in the stands is the Philadelphia Eagles. Because we know how their fan base turns on their team if they're not playing well. And right now, the Eagles are among the worst in the league. They're just terrible. They're a train wreck right now. Their coaching staff is clueless. Carson Wentz is playing some of the worst football of his career. There's this growing swelling of momentum for Jalen Hurts to get an opportunity. It's just a mess in Philadelphia right now. The defense isn't half bad, but the offense is just tragic right now. I mean, it's just awful. And so you look at them, you look at Dallas. Dallas isn't dead. They're just not well coached. It's, to me, I look at that team. They were in that game. 41-16 doesn't tell the story. If you watch that game, it was 20-16 with 12 minutes left when their idiotic coach decided to make one of the most boneheaded decisions of the 2020 season to this point, going for a fake punt, 4th and 10 at your own 25-yard line. He decides to go for a fake punt. I've never heard anything like it. So they were in that game. They're just poorly coached, are the Dallas Cowboys. So I won't bury them yet, but they're struggling too. Their defense is atrocious. Okay, no matter what you think about the offensive talent that they have, and they have plenty of it, their defense is a sieve. They can't stop the run. They get gashed in the pass. They're not disciplined defensively. They're just, now they can get after the quarterback. They got some pass rush. We saw that firsthand. They sacked Alex Smith 4 times, but they're not a good football team either. And I'm not trying to sit here and act as if we are, but we're going in the right direction. The Eagles, the Cowboys, they're trending in the wrong direction. The Giants, much like us, are heading in the right direction, but now they got an injury to Daniel Jones. I still think they're a mirage. They barely beat Cincinnati with a backup quarterback. I think that they could easily lose, 3 or 4 of their next, football games. Now, they still got Dallas again, but they don't have us or the Eagles to bail them out anymore. They got one more NFC East get out of jail free card, and that's in week 17. I'm hoping to put this thing away before we get there, and we don't have to worry about week 17 even coming into play. But we've got to take care of business on our end. But we've done the things we needed to do. The first 2-game winning streak of the season couldn't have come at a better time, because now you're heading into the meat and potatoes of your schedule. If you want to find out how serious you are, you got to win one of these next 2. We got to go 2-1 on the road. This is a 3-game stretch on the road. You got to find a way to go 2-1. Speaking of which, let's get to in other news, where we're going to talk about a few things. Let's first start with Bryce Love before we get into the schedule. Bryce Love has finally been placed on IR for good this season. We will not see Bryce Love in a Washington football uniform for the 2nd consecutive season. They had 21 days to activate him off of IR once they allowed him to practice. And that was 3 weeks ago, back on November the 11th, I believe, is when he practiced. He had soreness. He didn't practice again after that week that he practiced, and they decided to go ahead and put him back on the shelf. And so Bryce Love will not play this season for Washington. It's another lost year for Bryce Love, but hopefully next year. They know this guy's talented. We've heard Rivera talk about him. We've heard running backs coach Randy Jordan talk about him. I don't think he's going to be cut. I know some of you, we need to get rid of him. He's always injured. We got to see what this guy can offer, because a healthy Bryce Love could be a dangerous Bryce Love. And so I think they're going to allow this guy to heal up. And I get it. I don't think there is a reason. You got 3 capable backs in the backfield. Now all of them have carved out a niche for themselves in this offense. In Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick, and Peyton Barber. No need to even bring Bryce Love back. No need to rush him back. If you've continued to see swelling and soreness, just let him heal up fully. Have him come back next year for training camp, ready to rock and roll, and see if he can't compete then. But Bryce Love officially placed on IR for good this season. He's done for the 2020 campaign. And so we'll revisit the Bryce Love topic in 2021. That being said, Washington made a couple of moves on the practice squad. They signed a couple of tackles to the practice squad to give them a little depth. I don't know what to make of that. For one thing, it kind of makes me nervous because if you're signing more depth with 2 tackles on the practice squad, it leads me to believe that we're still not where we want to be from a health standpoint at the tackle position. Just in case something goes down, you want to have some guys that have been in the building, that are ready to go, that you can just bring up and have them be active on game day. Again, I would like to get to a point where we get these bodies back, whether it be Jaron Christian or Cornelius Lucas. It's good to know that if David Sharp has to play, he won't regurgitate all over himself. But I'd like to get Morgan Moses, back over to the right side. And if they feel comfortable with Morgan Moses at left tackle, that's fine. I just want to get somebody else in other than David Sharp because he's supposed to be the last line of defense. If he's in the game, then who the hell is backing him up? That's essentially where I am right now is, hey, David Sharp is supposed to be way down the line. Like, it's supposed to be Jaron Christian and, Morgan Moses. And if one of those guys goes down, then in comes Cornelius Lucas. And then if one of those guys goes down, then it's David Sharp. We're on David Sharp. So if he goes down, we got nothing. So I'm at the point now where I feel like we just need to get one of those guys back so that David Sharp can go back to the bench. And I'll give you a great example of where we are right now. We went to our big jumbo formation, like 3 tight ends, and they brought in an extra offensive lineman. It took the receiver completely off the field. And that was the play that Alex got sacked on by DeMarcus Lawrence. We had to bring in Wes Martin because we didn't have another tackle to bring in the game. So that just goes to show you just how limited we are at the tackle position right now. That when we went jumbo, normally you bring in an extra tackle, not an extra guard. But we don't have an extra tackle to bring in. So we brought in Wes Martin. Like, we need to get healthy along the offensive line, specifically at the tackle position. And that would be great. And also, let's talk about the schedule because so much has transpired with that since the last time we've spoken. We were supposed to have 3 straight road games on the schedule. One of those, anomalies that rarely happens, but it happened to us in 2020. 3 straight roadies in a row. At Dallas on Thanksgiving, at Steelers the following week, at the 49ers the week after that. So this is a stretch here that was going to be big. Now I couldn't forecast and foreshadow that this would be one of the biggest stretches of the season, but that's where we are right now. Like, you've already taken care of business at Dallas. Now, here's the scheduling quirk. A couple of them, actually. So, this game was supposed to be played on Sunday at 1 o'clock, like most of our games this season. Well, because of the COVID situation with the Ravens, that game got pushed to initially Monday. It's supposed to be a Thanksgiving Thursday contest, just like Washington and Dallas and Detroit and Houston. That thing got pushed back to Sunday initially. Okay, Sunday at 1. Okay, cool. Gets pushed back again. More positive COVID tests for the Ravens. Pushes the game back to Monday. Okay, we get a doubleheader on Monday. Cool. Nope. As a matter of fact, we're going to push that thing to Tuesday. Then you get a couple more positive tests for the Ravens. Pushes the game to now Wednesday. We're going to get this game right now. If nothing else goes awry, the Ravens practice today reportedly, and they're supposed to get on a plane and head to Pittsburgh 3:45 Wednesday afternoon. Yikes. Okay, so the NFL says, no, we can't ask the Steelers to turn around and then play a game on Sunday after playing a Wednesday game. So they moved us to now Monday. Okay, Monday at 5 p.m. So essentially, for all intents and purposes, it's a primetime game. All right, we've been running from these, but here we are in another primetime situation that we did not ask for. But we're going to play the Steelers. They're the best team in football. They're undefeated. We'll know if they'll be undefeated after tomorrow. Either they'll be coming into the game at 11-0, or they'll be coming into the game at 10-1. Either way, it's the best team we've played all season long, and it's not even close. And so this is going to be a hell of a measuring stick. We think we're getting better. We think we're improving in all these areas. Well, we're going to find out. And, you know, whether we win that game or not, I'm looking to be ultra competitive. I'm not afraid of the Steelers. I'm just going to tell you right now. I don't shake in my boots. I don't cower when the Steelers' name is mentioned. They're a good football team, a damn good football team. You don't get to 10-0 by accident. You don't fluke your way to 10-0. You find ways to win, and they've won some close games this season, but that's the mark of a veteran, good, smart football team that doesn't beat themselves. You find ways to win. And they've had games where they've turned it over, like the Tennessee game, but they found ways to win. At the end of the day, they're going to be the best team that we've played all season long, and we're going to get a chance to see where we are, how we stack up, how we measure up. Everyone in the division has played them tough. Everyone. The Giants played them tough in week 1. The Cowboys played them tough in week 9 or 10. And the Eagles played them tough in like week 6 or whatever it was. Like, everyone in the division has stood tall to these guys and went toe-to-toe with them. I think we can do the exact same thing. We'll see. We haven't had any success against Mike Tomlin as Pittsburgh Steelers head coach. As a matter of fact, I'd go out on a limb and say that we have never beaten Mike Tomlin as Pittsburgh Steelers head coach. Every time I think about the Steelers, I think about an ass whooping. You know, I remember Robert Griffin III's rookie season in 2012, we went to Pittsburgh. We did this stupid ass double pass to Griffin where he threw the ball to one of the receivers. They threw it to him down the field. And I think Ryan Clark lambasted him down the field. I mean, just plastered him down the sideline. Like, the Steelers have been a thorn in our side for years. Going all the way back to the 2008 season when we started off, 6-2, I believe it was. And they came to FedEx on a Monday night. And they took over the stadium. And I tell this story all the time with the terrible towels. And J-Cam, they hurt J-Cam in that game, and they beat the shit out of us. I mean, they beat the brakes off of us in that football game. It was not close. And I think that was Tomlin's first time having a chance to sick his dogs on us. And it's just been ruthless assault after ruthless assault. 08, 2012, 2016, remember, we win the division in 2015. We're all excited. First game of the season, primetime Monday night. Doubleheader, the first of the 2 games against the Steelers, and Antonio Brown is twerking on us in the end zone after catching a 4th down touchdown on Bashaud Breeland. Like, they've destroyed us every single time, and it hasn't been close. These haven't been competitive games that I'm talking about. These have all been all-out assaults. I think this time is different. We will see. We will see. Maybe we will be the only team in the division to not put up a fight. And they will just run through us like a hot knife through butter. But they will be coming off of a short week. A short week. We'll be well rested and waiting on these dudes. And they'll be coming off of 5 days of rest. That is it. Wednesday to Monday. Not a normal week for them. Quick turnaround. The only advantage that they have is they're home and they'll be staying home. They don't have to travel. But other than that, they're going to be battered and bruised. And that you must know that it's a rivalry game. It's going to be physical. It's the Ravens. It will be nasty. Casualties will be had in this game. We will have an opportunity to take these boys down. We will talk about that a little bit later on. But that's the first scheduling quirk that we talk about, is that game being pushed out an extra day, now turning into a pseudo primetime game at 5 p.m. on Monday, December the 7th. The first of 2 games that we'll get on Monday night will be the first. The second will be the Bills and the 49ers on Monday Night Football. So we will precede that game. And then the following week, short turnaround, because, again, the scheduling quirk. So we'll get the extra day on the front end, but on the back end, we'll lose a day because we got a quick turnaround. And then we got to fly all the way out to Arizona. Remember, we were supposed to go to Santa Clara to play the 49ers. The Santa Clara's like, hey, look, we're not having any big gatherings. We're not doing any sporting events here in San Francisco. You have to play that game somewhere else. So the 49ers were able to get with the Arizona Cardinals. They agreed to allow the 49ers to use their stadium. We've been there already once this season, so If there's any advantage, we can say, hey, we've made this trip before. We've played in this stadium already this season. And so that should be a slight advantage. It's indoors. You don't have to deal with the elements. But we got to go to Arizona now to play the 49ers. It's a neutral site game, essentially. Not that it matters. Not like crowd was going to be involved anyway, but that's a different situation too. Instead of going to San Francisco, instead of going to Santa Clara, playing outdoors, we're playing indoors at Arizona. We've made the trip before. Early this season, week 2, go to Arizona. Lost that game. Hopefully this will be different. I said this earlier in the show. I'm going to repeat it now. We have to find a way to win 2 out of 3 of these road games. Okay, 3 straight roadies at Dallas, at Pittsburgh, now at Arizona against the 49ers. So at San Francisco, but in Arizona. Got to find a way to win 2 out of 3. We've already won 1. It'd be nice to win all 3 of these bastards. It really would. It'd be nice to get this Steelers one, and now you're playing with house money against the 49ers. And you know, it was funny. A couple of weeks ago, we looked at this 49ers game, and we said, man, no Jimmy Garoppolo, no George Kittle. These boys are folding up the tents over here. They're going to be dead by the time we see them. Well, they just beat the damn Rams. Now, I get it. It's family business. They've swept the Rams this year. They know how to play the Rams. And they haven't looked good against teams outside of the division. I understand all of that. These boys have not quit. And who knows? With them potentially being in, and we'll see what happens this week against Buffalo on Monday night. They find a way to beat the Bills. And that's a home game. That's in Arizona. They find a way to beat the Bills. They're going to come into that game licking their chops with a chance to get back over 500. And that's going to prompt them to bring a guy like George Kittle back off of injury who might have been done for the season. And I don't know how far in his recovery process he is. But, you know, in my mind, I was thinking there's no way those guys are coming back from injury because the 49ers are going to be out of it by the time they get back to that point where they'll be ready to return. With that win last week, they're not out of it. They're 5-6. They win against Buffalo and they get to 6-6. Now they're chomping at the bit to get their chance to get back over 500 against us the following week. So this is a big game for not only them, for us, but for them as well, because it will set up a situation where the 49ers at 5-7, they're pretty much dead. Okay. But at 6-6, oh, they are very much alive in the NFC wild card. So, you know, this is a huge stretch of football for them, for us. We need to get 2 out of the 3. You know, if we come out of this situation at 5-8, no worse than 5-8, we're sitting pretty. Because, yeah, you got Seattle, you got Carolina, and you got Philadelphia. You can win 2 out of those 3 as well. You know, you could be looking at a situation where you could finish up at 7-9. 7-9 definitely wins you this division. At this point, I'm being honest with you, 6 might win this division. We don't want to put ourselves in a position, though, where the Giants, because they swept us, and this is why it's important to take care of business in the division. The Giants, and I never thought it would come down to us and the Giants potentially, but because they own the tiebreaker over us, we can't afford to finish tied with the Giants. We can't afford to finish at 6-10 with the Giants, or else they'll win the tiebreaker. So we've got to find a way to take care of business, and we can't rely on other people to do our dirty work for us. A wise man once told me, you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. Well, everything that we want and we could ask for is right here in front of us. We just got to take care of business. And it started a couple of weeks ago against Cincinnati. It really started against the Giants. We fell flat on our face there. We went to Detroit. That felt like a kamikaze mission, but somehow we were able to fight and almost came out of there alive, but we didn't. We bounced back. We took care of Cincinnati like we were supposed to. That snowballed into the destruction of the Cowboys on a short week. And now you're riding a 2-game winning streak for the first time this season. What does this team do with all of the accolades? They're receiving a little bit of love now. You know, there was a totally different tune being talked about at the end of that Eagles game. If you stuck around long enough, and I know a lot of you checked out, as you should have. But if you stuck around to the end and they started talking about the remaining schedule of the Seahawks, and it was a totally different tune than it was 2 weeks ago. Totally different tune when they were laughing and joking about the NFC East and how bad of a division it is. When they talked about the Seahawks remaining schedule and the Giants and Washington being on it, it changed from, oh, those are easy wins to, hey, look, Giants playing good football. don't sleep on Washington. That defensive line is ferocious. You know, and Louis Riddick then went down the line of all the offensive weaponry that we have. And if Alex Smith can stay healthy and continue to play the way he's playing, yada, yada, yada. Like, people are taking notice of what we're doing. That's what happens when you do that on the stage that we did it on. When you beat somebody's ass in obscurity at 1 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, not everybody's paying attention because they're worried about their team. They're worried about a lot of different things that are going on. When you do it on the most watched game of the NFL season, and I tweeted this out, for those of you who want to talk about this rivalry is dead and nobody cares about 2, 3, and 7 teams, take that and stick it in your damn pipe. The NFC East will always matter. Dallas and Washington will always matter. I don't care how bad the teams are. I don't care what the division looks like. I don't care if the rivalry is quote unquote dead or it's dying. This is always going to be a rivalry and it's always going to matter and people are always going to tune in and want to watch. And this proved it again. And don't tell me that just because it was on at Thanksgiving and there's nothing else to do, that's why everybody watched. Well, the first game didn't draw those numbers with the Detroit Lions and the Houston Texans. That didn't draw a 33. That was a 23. Okay? So all I'm saying is that ass whooping that we put on the Cowboys on Thanksgiving made everybody take notice. We've talked about this for years with this football team, and we want to see a lot of things have changed since Ron's taken over. You know, that whole narrative of primetime football and the whole narrative of can't sweep the Cowboys and can't win on Thanksgiving. He's changed all of that in one fell swoop. Something that we want to see done here is this team handle success. They haven't done it well this season. You beat the Cowboys. You go into your bye. You come out of the bye. You soil yourself. You wet the bed. You beat the Eagles in week 1. Everyone's feeling good. You get 8 sacks. Everybody's talking about how good this defense is. You go the following week, you're down 20-0 at halftime. Someone told me, I think it was King of the North might have said this to me. We're going to be ready this time. We beat Cincinnati. We don't have a bye week. It's a quick turnaround. The boys will be ready. Watch what I tell you. I think it was my man King of the North. He was right. They were ready. Big stage, bright lights, didn't faze them one bit. Okay, prove it to me. Do it again. Big lights, bright lights, big stage, Monday afternoon, Monday evening, we'll call it. Best team in the league at their place. Prove it to me. Don't go get embarrassed. Fight. Put up a fight. Give yourself a chance. Even if you don't win, give yourself a chance in the fourth quarter. You do that, and that will show me a lot about this team. We'll find out a lot about this team this coming week. We got all week to talk about that. I'm going to have a conversation about the Washington football defense, about Washington's defense against Dallas tomorrow on the show. We won't be live on Wednesday night because I'm doing a collab with Bad Dog and NFC East Roundtable. So I'll be doing that tomorrow night live on his channel. I will get permission from him. I'll strip it and I'll throw it on my channel as well for those of you who can't, watch the stream live. I'll put it on our channel over here on the LouieTeeNetwork if he gives me his blessing, which I'm pretty sure he will. And you guys will have an opportunity to kind of get the pulse of every single team in the division and how, that fan base is feeling. And it should be a lot of fun. We did it before the season started. We couldn't have been more wrong about how this division was going to go. And I look to have a lot of fun with this one as we sit tied for first place with the Giants. Who would have thought this is where we would be at this moment? But this is where we are. So Thursday night, with no Thursday night football because the Ravens and the Cowboys were supposed to play, that game's been pushed to Tuesday, I believe now, December the 8th, because of all of the delays with the Ravens and Steelers. There's no Thursday night game. Then that's when we'll go live here on Washington Football Nightly. So we'll push the live show back from Wednesday to Thursday, and we'll chop it up then and talk about the football team and all the things that are right in front of us. And we'll have a spirited debate and discussion about this team. I know some of you are excited. Some of you maybe not so much. This is exactly what I wanted. Meaningful football in December. I didn't draw it up this way, you know, with 3 different quarterbacks starting and this division being as bad as it is, but I'll take it any way I can get it. I told you, I just want to win. I just want to play meaningful football in December. Hell, let's go have ourselves a season. Why the hell not? You know, you just put up 41 on your most hated rival. Why the hell not? Let's go have ourselves a goddamn season. Why don't you? And so with that said, I'm going to glide to the side and let you guys get back to whatever it is you were doing. I'm back like cook crack off the bye week, fresh, recharged, and ready to go. And we're going to jump into this thing knee deep and really get after it, talking about this football team and the prospects of this team potentially hosting a home playoff game. A lot of football left to be played before we can start throwing around the P word. But with that win on Sunday, or excuse me, Thursday, you've put yourself in a position now that it's becoming a little bit more of a reality. You know, you're getting that much closer as these weeks pass and you start piling up some of these dubs. You get that much closer to potentially finding yourself in a position to host a home playoff game. I can't believe I'm even saying that in 2020, but that's where we are. And we'll talk more about the Cowboys game. We'll put a bow on that game from Thursday. I'm still on a high. I'm not going to lie to you off of that. And we'll start turning our attention to Pittsburgh and a big game against the Steelers. Hard to turn my attention to the Steelers when I still have to see them in week number 12. They still haven't played their week 12 matchup, which they will do tomorrow afternoon. And so after I see them in that game, we can then really start going in. And so I think we'll start doing that on Thursday's show as we get ready for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T, here on the Washington Football Nightly program. Remember, if it's not your man T, it's not, I repeat, not the best NFL coverage it could be. If you haven't already done so, what are you waiting on? Go ahead and subscribe to the LouieTeeNetwork for more great content. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And also make sure you hit the like button. Show your man some love as we continue to try to grow the LouieTeeNetwork and get this thing out here to as many people as possible. If you can and you would like to copy some merch, you know, LouieTeeNetwork hats, hoodies, beanies, shirts, masks, you name it. It's down below in the description of this video and every video that I do. printchamps.com/LouieT is where you can find all of that merch. Also, if you're not a part of the Mob Squad, what are you waiting for? Become a part of the MOBB. Thursday was so much fun. You know, I'd love, because it's funny. The Mob Squad it's just this big melting pot of Washington fans, and you get so many ranges of emotion whether, you know, a guy makes a bad play, oh, this guy sucks, he's terrible, to the rational people that are like, all right, you know, we got to do this, to the over optimistic people who are like, they never give up. You're down 21 with 3 minutes left. The game's not over. We can still win. It's just awesome. But when everybody's on the same page, like we were at the end of that Dallas game, that's when it's its most fun. When you see that we're going to win this game, when you're up 34-16 and you know, we got this. We got this. And everyone's so excited, that's when it's a ton of fun. Then when Montez Sweat goes and puts the icing on the cake, that's when it's just euphoric at that point. So if you're not a member of the Mob Squad, the MOBB, what are you waiting on? Join the Mob Squad. The link is down in the description. Join us on Flick and join the community and become a member of the Mob Squad MOBB. Stand up. We in the building, as always. I'm your man, Louie T. Signing off. Remember, this has been Washington Football Nightly. I'll see you guys next time. I'm back.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap. Hand to Riggins. Good hold. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone. He's gone. Touchdown.